Holy red snapper, flight checkers. It is time for another episode of Flight Check Season 1.5, Episode 7. I am one of your hosts, Sandy Toes, and to my left and my extra left are my constant friends and buddies along the way as we trek into this jungle of the off-season, Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Fellas, how was your weekend? World's Finals, a big match. Lots of interesting stuff going on. Roster rumors abounding. Curly, what's going on for you? I see some new lights in the background.
Yes, indeed. If you see in the sharing corner of my server and in IRL of FlyQuest server, I mix up my servers at the beginning. You'll see my beautiful, beautiful lights that came in on Friday night / Saturday morning, and I put them up at 5 a.m. because I came back from work and I was not tired at all. So I was like, might as well aestheticize my room. And then it was 6:30 and I was falling asleep. And suddenly I was watching the fourth game of finals. The lights should be green. No, here's the thing, FlyQuest. I'm so scared to change my lights because it took me so long to find this setting. And I don't want to have to find it again. Otherwise, I would.
You can't. You can't just like save the lights or something.
I don't know. I do not know enough about the lights that I have to confidently say that. So maybe next time they can be green.
Yeah.
But for now, we're gonna stick with this, so I don't fuck or mess it up.
That's fine. You'll have it green for the giant free agency window.
Yes.
I'll have it green for the look. The more money we spend, the greener my background will be.
All
right.
I think that's a great way of putting it. That's a bit of a challenge to FlyQuest, I think. Spend more, the greener the lights get, you know? Okay.
They said bet. Oh no, Curly.
All right.
When I say money, I don't just mean spend money on players. It better be on trees too.
Yeah, for sure. Nox, how were finals for you? How was your weekend overall?
It was good. Honestly, that final series, and we can get into it more here in a little bit, was probably one of the best final series we've had in a while.
Yep.
I had a blast watching it, honestly. Outside of that, I just straight chilled all weekend. I ended up watching the Arcane series, which we won't go into because spoilers.
Yeah.
But really, really good. Please go watch it. You can actually show that show to people who are not League fans or who have not played the game, don't know anything about it. And they will get it and they will understand it. And I guarantee you there's a strong chance that they will like it. So please go check it out. Outside of that, my other guilty pleasure show that I've been watching has been Big Mouth Season 5 because I'm a degenerate who likes watching pubescent teens figure out their life in cartoon form.
Oh my gosh, that show is awful but hilarious.
Yeah, it is something else, but it's like one of those guilty pleasure scratch shows.
It's one of those shows that I don't talk about that I watch. I don't mention
Just something about it, man.
Yeah, it's hilarious though. One of the few shows that actually makes me laugh out loud.
So, outside of that, though, that was it.
Nice. Yeah, not much for me this weekend. Had a Friendsgiving on Saturday night. That was a good time. Little early, I think, to start doing Friendsgivings, like a few weeks early, but it was still a good time anyway. And then yesterday, just chilled. That was great. And now here we are, ready to discuss World's Finals, kind of take a look back at the year overall, and then discuss some of these spicy roster rumors that have been going around regarding both FlyQuest and the LCS as a whole. So let's kick off with just talking about World's Finals. Now, when I did my pick'ems for FlyQuest, I had Damwon 3-1. However,
Same.
I forgot to do my picks on LoL Esports. The coin flipped for EDG for me. So
it did for Noxwar as well.
I correctly predicted EDG to win this series, I will say. Against the odds, I did call this one, and I'm quite proud of that. But for real, this was I think, hey, big surprise of a finals, I think everyone would say. An upset, really. I mean, yeah, Nox, just like, I want to hear your thoughts on it first. 3-2, all 5 games. I mean, really nice to see after several finals. Felt like bit, just like dominant all the way through by one team. So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to just hear your perspective on this finals.
So after last week's podcast where I predicted EDG would totally win.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like straight up, no beating around the bush. I was genuinely surprised. I did not think EDG was going to make it. They took it 5 games against RNG. They took it 5 games against Gen G, who I didn't think was going to be that good. And so it was like, it's just, they're scraping by these matches. There's just no way. Like, and I said last week, they're going to really have to focus on the bot lane, make sure Viper gets ahead. That kind of happened a little bit to a certain extent, but just overall, EDG was performing well. And more than anything, JJ just completely jungle gapped Canyon, right? That was like the biggest surprise for me.
Yeah.
So for me, at the end of the day, it was well-deserved win from EDG's side. But to this day, if you ask me to go back a week and say, you want to try that prediction again, I'd still tell you damn one.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Curly. Got a hair in my mouth. That was weird. Strange. Yeah, Curly. I know you said you slept until Game 4 of the finals, but for the parts you did see, I mean, like, give me your thoughts on those.
Well, I will say this. I think I did catch the 2 most underwhelming matches of the day. Because honestly, it didn't. At least the 2 matches I saw, it just felt like Damwon didn't play really at all. Like for Game 4 especially, they waited until Ocean Soul to contest Drakes, which, like, I don't know why you would. Like, the second it flips to the Ocean Drake period, that's when I would start. Or was it Mountain? I don't know which one it was, but regardless, they waited till Soul Point to contest, which I think as a team macro just makes 0 sense to me. Because giving away the first 2 Drakes, whatever. One of them was a Cloud Drake, so what? Some ultimate ability haste. But, like, throwing away Soul, that was not it, Chief. So their macro just did not seem on point. It's kind of like, gave me similar energy to back in the summer split where our first weekend with the promo boys was really good. And then 2 weekends later, we were like, what's happening? Because Damwon up until this point, really, really solid. But yeah, GG really stepped up, and Canyon was there and played played Trundle for some reason.
We know you're not a fan of. Or is it Sandy who's not a fan of?
No, I'm
Sandy's.
the big fan of Trundle.
Okay.
I love me some Trundle in the jungle.
I'm a fan of Trundle if it like is relevant, because like one thing I was actually doing a watch party with some during that, like I saw that it was busting in a Discord, so I hopped in, and there was a moment I'm like, wait, why is Canyon level 12 and GG's level 15?
Yeah.
Why does he have such little XP?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I think the difficulty always with Trundle is if you get behind, it's very difficult to play proactively and catch up. It's definitely a champ that you need to be proactive on early and make your moves and get ahead on. And once you're ahead, it's great. If it's playing from behind, not as great. I was just excited overall, in terms of this series, to see it go to 5 games. I don't think I can say enough, like, how nice it was to see a World Finals that was not just an absolute stomp by one team over another.
Yes.
And also where it really put to bed that narrative of like, oh, the real finals was Dom1 versus T1, something like that. I did see some jokes on Twitter from people going like, oh, the real finals was EDG versus RNG back in quarters. But I think that was more tongue in cheek because I think it is frustrating to see, like, if you look at the Damwon Suning finals last year. Just looking back on that, I'm trying to pull up the...
What, 1-3 in favor of Damwon?
Yeah, 1-3 in favor of Damwon. I mean, you had a lot of people who, said, like, oh, this wasn't the real finals. Real finals was maybe, like, G2 versus Damwon. You've had other, previous years where it's been like, oh, I think like IG Fnatic.
SKT.
Yeah,
SKT Rocks.
Yeah, SKT Rocks was the real finals, things like that. So it was nice to see a moment where people were already saying, oh, this isn't the real finals. It was Dom1 versus T1 before finals were even played.
Mm-hmm.
For then EDG to come out, not only put up a fight, but then actually win and kind of disprove all of those haters of like, oh, this is not a real finals, blah, blah, blah. So that was great, I think, from both an entertainment perspective, but also like a story/narrative perspective that I was particularly excited about. I mean, I don't know.
Now here's the thing, Sandy.
Yeah.
I would argue, as an LCS fan, that real finals happened on October 16th at 12 p.m. When 100 Thieves beat EDG. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know why we add anything after that. Should have just given them the trophy right then and there.
It's true.
True. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, come on. I mean, duh.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Technically, if you want to think about it, 100 Thieves was yet again in the group with the finalists, or not even the finalists, the winner, and a semifinalist who took the finalists to a 5-game series.
Well, and I think that's the narrative that they want to use, right? Is hey, look,
Yes.
we were in the group with the semifinalist and the eventual world champion. So clearly we had it rough, guys, right? It wasn't that easy,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Right.
and they managed to go 3-3. So, like,
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
let's ignore the fact that they had DFM in their group, and
Yeah.
2 of those wins were from DFM. But
I think
Hey.
more than anything, and I'm sorry if anyone from 100 Talk Pod is listening, but the team showed that when they're playing at their peak in that EDG game, they can absolutely go to toe
Oh, yeah.
with any other team in the world right now.
yeah,
Problem is, their mental was so boom that they were practically dropping a game to DFM.
yeah.
So at the end of the day, they were definitely not worthy of going on any further. But it just goes to show that if they can get their level to that peak consistently, I'd love to see them back at Worlds next year because they could do some damage.
Well,
No,
and
I'm
this,
DMing Cole right now.
and this kind of goes into the roster stuff that we'll touch on later, but from all accounts, it does appear that they are running this roster back in 2022, and I, for one, am really happy to see that, especially because it's not like they tried this roster out for the entire season, right? Abadage came in for summer. So that's an entire split of scrimming and practice and stage games and synergy buildup that this roster did not have. And so and they still won LCS, right? So I am excited to see if they do run this back, what it will look like next year, if they are in even better form, what peak they could take it to. I mean, I already have them down as like an early favorite, barring this potential TL roster, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Any final thoughts on finals or Worlds as a whole? Just kind of like discussing Worlds in general.
It's kind of funny how we went from probably the worst quarterfinals in Worlds history to probably the best semifinals and one of the best finals that we've had in the 10 years of Pro League, or 11 years of this point. It was just something else. Hey, I'm not complaining though at all. It's just funny to like God, quarters sucked. And then it's just like, oh, wow, these semis were great. Holy crap, a good final, too. How did this, like, turn around?
Yeah.
Riot did in fact make Worlds to promote Arcane, as Road Roller is saying in chat, though.
True,
so like if you don't have Worlds be hype while plugging Arcane in there, how are people going to watch it? You know.
Yeah,
So
they really knew how to use the script this year, that's for sure.
You know, Riot. I think what happened is Riot after quarterfinals sat down with all of the coaches and managers, was like, "Look, guys, we can't have this. We can't have 3-0s all the way around. So we need 3-5s, 3-game 5s. Let's go."
Yeah.
They did.
Spreaders do good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I thought Worlds overall very exciting. I thought there were some real highlight moments. Group stage felt very exciting to me. Especially like Group D was a great group, even though TL didn't get out. Group A
Group D
was
so spicy.
Yeah, Group A was fantastic. I still think I wish we could have seen Fnatic with upset. Seeing what kind of splash they might have been able to make.
Or prepared to deal with no upset.
Yeah.
You're preaching to Curly here right now.
No, I'm aware. Just raking in those good karma points with him. So I think Worlds went pretty well. One other thing I want to say is I don't think it's been discussed enough, the incredible production that occurred with the last minute swap from China to Iceland. I felt like production still looked really, really good. The team did really, really well. What I was really happy with was that they got the majority of casters into Berlin. They did run several casts from Korea, I believe. That might have been in like play-in stage or maybe some of the groups. And they did have Chronicler call in on the analyst desk, via video call and whatnot. But they had all of the casters in Berlin together, so there was no weird like, oh, now here's freaking Kobe from LA, oh, now here's Dracos and, Kadril from Berlin. It was nice to just see them all together, and then we got those interregional caster desks. That was great. And one final shout out, Atlas getting a Worlds Finals cast. That man has deserved it for so long. So happy to see that, and I felt like he absolutely crushed the cast.
Hell yeah.
So big ups to him. Well done. Massively deserved.
I love that they flew him out, too. They were like,
yeah,
you're doing this, and you're flying out here to do
Well,
this.
I saw him tweet that he was going to be doing finals, and I was like, oh, I really hope he's not shoutcasting from Korea, and then there's Kobe and Vedius over in Berlin, because that would feel like a little weird. Then I saw that he was there, and I was like, oh, let's go. So it feels really good. Glad that he was able to do that. I believe I saw a post on Reddit that Kobe has been on the World's Finals cast like 6 years in a row, something like that. So
5 out of the past 6 years.
Yeah, something crazy. So shout out to him as well for just that longevity, that fan favorite. I love Kobe as a caster. He's great. Okay. Worlds is over. Worlds is done. I think we wanted to do like a little bit of a,
recap.
LoL Esports in retrospective. Just for a little bit. Nox, did you have something you wanted to say kind of about the year in general? I know I've got one thing that I want to talk about, but if you've got something, I've just been talking for a bit, so.
No, I don't have anything in particular. I just wanted to see what you guys thought of this year, like especially like Curly, who hasn't been in LoL Esports for all that long, basically like 2 years now at this point, right?
Yeah, this is like the first full season I got around to.
Yeah, more than anything, I was just kind of curious to, because obviously I'm the boomer here, right? I've been here watching since season 2, and then Sandy, you've been like what, season 5, season 6, right?
Season
Or
5.
even
Season 5.
yeah. So I just get kind of curious what the different levels of thought are of what this season was like compared to like past seasons for you guys.
Yeah.
I guess for me, with my inaugural full season, it was very interesting. Just like, I guess first figuring out how to pay attention to as much as I could going on, because like, admittedly, back in the spring before we did the podcast, I spent most of my day, like week, waiting for LEC. And then like also happening to watch LCS just because of how my schedule turned out. And then we started the podcast, and I like watched so much LCS, um, and even Academy and all that stuff. So like just figuring out how much League was going on out there, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of League all the time. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Truly a global sport.
Yeah, truly a global sport. And then I'd say like MSI and Worlds were very, very well done. And I personally feel like summer was wild for LCS, number one. I don't know how to read our power, especially compared to the rest of the regions after, because summer made no sense, but then we did get out of groups, but then we flopped when we were out of groups. So I'm still trying to figure out how I felt about LCS performance overall this year, you know? But I definitely think we took like last year and the year before, like having no teams out of groups, very seriously this year. And like really the 3 teams that got to Worlds, I think really did their best. And I am proud of that as a LCS fan. So yeah, there's a lot. I could probably sit down and do a whole memoir if we went through the seasons, you know?
That's fair. Yeah, I'll say, just to piggyback off that a little bit, felt like for LCS, a great year in terms of more exposure for academy and amateur players. I know that for me, myself, I took a lot more interest in academy and amateur, paying attention to, what players were rising up in the scene, making names for themselves. Felt like LCS orgs also took it really seriously. We saw at least 5 different orgs. If I'm thinking, you had like Dignitas, 100 Thieves, EG, Cloud9, and TSM at least with amateur teams.
Yep.
So I mean, that's half the orgs in LCS, and that was really great to see that we were finally building out some level of development stage for younger players or for players who just had not gotten a shot at academy yet. The tournament structures were great. There was just a lot of amateur content all the time, and it was just really great to see a community build up around it. And just really focus and like bring up these players to a place where they could get on broadcast, make names for themselves, develop some memes around it, just have like general exposure for the amateur scene. So that was really cool. One thing I am really looking forward to next year, hopefully, is the return of studio audiences. I really missed that last year. I missed it in 2020. I really, really missed it this year. It's like at this point, I can barely even remember what it's like to watch with a crowd. It's just.
I don't know what it's like.
Yeah. I mean, just like having an LCS studio game with a crowd and hearing them pop off is yeah. My gut tells me that we might be able to get folks in the studio in LCS Spring. Maybe not a full crowd, but I wouldn't be shocked, just because like you're seeing it in traditional sports. Arenas are packed out and everything again. So I would be surprised if they don't do it. for LCS. LEC might be a little more tricky, but I'm really hoping that we get back to full crowds, especially with Worlds in North America next year. I would love a full, 4-5 cities, just a nice whirlwind tour.
Do we have a confirmed venue for Worlds, or is it just...
Nope, it's just North
Nope, not yet.
America. I hope it's a nice mix of both Canada and the U.S. I think that would be great.
Watch them just like pick a field in Kansas, build a stadium.
Oh my god.
the esports field of dreams. If you build it, they will summon. So yeah.
Or NA goes to die.
Yeah, where any good.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. Great. Nox, did you have anything that you wanted to talk about in terms of this past year?
Just bullet point stuff that
Yeah.
I really wanted to just go over real fast. First thing was kind of what you were saying earlier, was the amateur scene ballooned, right? It boomed. It was huge. It just, I don't know, everything that Riot did for North American Amateur was awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously some tweaks still need to be done, such as like scheduling and whatnot, but like they killed it this year for NA Amateur. And that makes me super, super excited for what's going to come in the future in 2022 and 2023, because at least by 2023, that's when I'm expecting a lot of that talent that's coming up right now, that's actually getting the training, that's actually getting the settings and getting the feel for the environment and whatnot, and getting prepped for it. Like all those players are going to start working their way up in the next year or two. We're going to start seeing them on the LCS stage, I feel, and I'm just so hyped for that, right? So there's that. Riot killed it on that aspect. Formatting for this year for the LCS, 6 weeks into 9 weeks, with games not resetting in between spring and summer. I like the attempt. I don't think it's probably something that needs to be stuck with. I think probably try a different format next year. I do like the attempt, though. I appreciate it, but I just don't think it's the right way to go. I'm not sure what the right way to go is, but just not quite it. But again, not like dissing it whatsoever. Just, yeah. Outside of that, I want to give a huge shout out to the LCO for losing the Riot sponsored status and then literally having the best year they have ever had, right? Just absolutely blows my mind that Riot no longer sponsors this region, and they come in and make it out of groups at MSI, and they have a really good Worlds performance if it wasn't for the fact that they had to run into freaking Cloud9, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, Cloud9 does not lose that tiebreaker match. LCO probably plays a match against Japan, and I don't know who takes that best-of-5 series. Like, I was really excited to watch that to see who wins. But either way, I wanted to give props to LCO. They looked awesome. They looked great. LEC, man, you guys are in for a rough time next year.
Oh my god, no, yeah, LEC is
gonna be
falling
a
apart.
bit rough.
It's falling apart, dude. Like,
Yeah.
at least the teams, it's like, I thought this year was super competitive. I don't know. I feel like next year is going to be super confusing. Like, whenever you look at the teams all set up, you're going to be like, all right. Like, this year, it's like, oh my god, who's the best? And next year, it's going to be like, who's the best?
Who is the
Probably Vitality, and at that point, don't know.
No, here's the thing. I'm actually scared of the Vitality Super Team, not as a Fnatic fan, but as someone who, like, I feel like they imagine it's going to be like the Las Vegas Golden Knights, where they pay a bunch of professional players to start a new season, and I don't know if it's going to go that way.
Well, I will say the Las Vegas Golden Knights did not do too terribly in their first few seasons. So.
No, they didn't. That's what I'm saying is I think they think it's going to be like that, where they did really good.
Okay.
And I'm not sure it's actually going to be like that. Like, because I feel like all the players that are rumored to be on this roster are really good. But I don't know, man. I feel like it's going to be volatile as hell.
I was looking at the potential rosters, a screenshot that the Fabrizio Romano of Esports LEC Wulu put together of potential LEC rosters. And I was looking and I was like, well, besides Vitality and probably Mad Lions, I don't know who else is going to be good next year. So that, I feel like that region is going to be very interesting. I actually feel like Fnatic might be able to make a come up and do better next year. But yeah, G2 is a big question mark to me, just with some of the players they're bringing in. So yeah, it'll be very, very interesting indeed. But we don't care about EU. No, we do care about EU, but we don't care too much about EU. We're all about North America and FlyQuest here. And boy, oh boy, were there some rumors. So let's run it over real quick. Catch me if I miss any FlyQuest rumors. But Travis Gafford of Travis Gafford Industries dropped a video and a stream early last week, basically predicting what he had heard about the FlyQuest roster. He corroborated what had previously been reported about Tukui in the mid lane, but he did bring up some further information. And to run it over, what he believes is that currently we are looking between Jenkins and Haunser, amongst others. Those were just two names that he had heard for the top lane position. He incorrectly said in the video that Jose Deodo would not be staying, but later corrected to say that Jose will be staying. So Jose Deodo in jungle, most likely. Tukui in mid lane. Johnson making a return to the starting LCS roster, but joining him is his former support and longtime LCS veteran, Afromu. Now, and then there's not a lot of information about the academy team. One interesting note is Palafox. He linked to going to Counter Logic Gaming, most likely as their starting mid laner, which is interesting for sure. No news really on where Diamond is going. And that is about it in terms of FlyQuest-centric news. We can get into some of the other North America stuff, but I really just want to hit on this FlyQuest stuff. So, these are moves. These are some big moves in some cases. And, I mean, I just want to go straight to you guys. I mean, Nox, just starting with you. When you hear this roster, I mean, let's just say it's like Jenkins, right? Jenkins, Jose, Tukui, Johnson, Afromu. I mean, how do you feel about this?
So for me, this roster is basically like imagine it's Christmas time, right? You're getting ready. You're like, what do I want for Christmas? So you start making your list like, top lane. Yeah, I think I want a Jenkins. So you put Jenkins down. You're like, yeah, I think I want a Jose Deodo. I'll put Jose Deodo down. And then you're thinking about your mid lane. You're like, yeah, I probably like Palafox. Palafox deserves another chance, so on and so forth. And you're like, well, Johnson and Tummel are both good, so I'm down to keep both of them. And you're like, ideally, I really want Afromu, right? And you're like, I really want Afromu. You put that down. Christmas time comes, and then it's like, Jenkins is there? Cool, I got that on my wish list. Jose Deodo's still there? Cool. And then this Takui guy comes in, you're like, oh, that's kind of weird, but then you start looking at the toy a little bit more. You're like, oh, it's actually not bad. Okay, I could maybe work with this. This is kind of interesting.
It's got a few more. It's got a few more buttons and has a few more actions on the action figure.
Look, a couple more karate chop actions that you can work with. A couple more voice lines.
Yeah,
you're like, okay, it's a little different, but like you can work with it totally. And then you get the rest of your Christmas wish list too. So more than anything, you look at this roster, and if this is what ends up happening, I'm very content with what happened this offseason, right? It absolutely hit within my expectations for what FlyQuest needed to do. Don't get me wrong, is there like better rosters that we could have acquired if we wanted to shell out a crap ton of money? Absolutely. But if we're setting realistic expectations, I think FlyQuest is going to hit it if this is what we acquire. And I'm very content with it.
If this is the roster, so like it's, and I would say this, whether it's Jenkins or Haunser, actually, I think this roster is an upgrade overall. I think Afromu is a direct upgrade, and I think Jenkins and Haunser are both direct upgrades. Um, I was very pleased with Jose Deodo last year. I'm excited to see what Tukui can do. Um, I think Johnson might still be my question mark, but I'm excited to see him back with Afromu. Uh, so that is that. I think overall, like if you look at last year's roster and like give it like a letter grade of like I don't know D plus C minus, I think it solidly raises it up to like a C plus B minus in terms of just like, and that's without seeing how the synergy goes, without really taking a deep dive into Takui, without seeing really what Jenkins and Haunser can do, things like that. I think on paper this roster seems better to me than what we finished with last year. Curly, I know you've got thoughts.
I mean, for sure. This Rumored roster definitely inspires confidence. Having a veteran support, especially one like Afromu, huge, huge, huge for us because I know support was somewhere we just couldn't figure out quite what was going on. Much as I love Diamond, if we're investing in Afromu, I definitely see it as worth it. Jenkins obviously proved himself by filling in for Alfari while he was out. So if he is our top laner, he's certainly inspired confidence in me. I can't say I know too much about Hanser or retain too much about his play. I know I've seen games from him, but so I'm just not going to touch that one. Takui, I do appreciate a good French solo laner. So I'm very, very excited for that. And then personally, you guys know I would rather have seen Tomo be our ADC, but something think I've said before on the podcast, or at least definitely in some chats, is a lot can happen in an off season, and something I hope that will happen is Johnson, especially if he's going to be back with Afromu, able to scrim it up, step it up, and be a lot more present, a lot more of a carry this season. So I definitely very, very satisfied with this roster. One thing I will say though, I am holding my breath, very, very, very much so in anticipation of that coach announcing the coach, because that will really affect how I feel about the roster.
Yeah.
Because these are all good players. Just got to make sure we have a good person to lead them.
And one thing that really stood out to me, to kind of like tag Worlds back into this, a lot of the EDG players, when they were talking, when they were like thanking people for their help, they kept talking over and over about the EDG staff behind them. Now, I understand China, Korea, they've got, dozens of people working behind the scenes as analysts and as, one-on-one coaches and things like that. But it really showed to me the importance of building out a strong, viable staff. And I agree. I think a team will only be as good as the staff around them, as the help around them, because we're not in the Wild West days anymore, where you can just have 5 dudes and they show up and they draft and then they play the game. No, you need people to, call it out when you've fallen for this, gank like 800 times. You need to stop, pushing up when you don't have vision on the jungler, like just things like that. You need to have those coaches, you need to have those staff people, the analysts doing the work. So yes, I agree that coaching decisions are probably the next most interesting thing to me after the players, and I think the most important thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'll be very curious to see, because has there even really been any huge coach rumors at all going around. It's only been
Not
players
at
rumors,
all.
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it like technically, TSM lost Bjergsen, right? I think there were a couple things. So Think Card and Croissant, both left Golden Guardians. That was a few days ago. Uh,
Curry left TSM, quote unquote.
yeah, Curry left.
Or is that at least looking?
He's looking. Hey, technically, Dardock is free to coach.
Yeah.
So that's he's available at least.
I actually heard a rumor that he found an ERL team.
I have heard the
Ooh.
same rumor. Do you know what ERL team is?
I don't. I've heard rumors circulating that he
I
found
don't know if this is
ERL
like
team.
I don't know if this is a good rumor or if it's like something somebody said on Reddit one time, like Dardock could maybe go to an ERL team, and then somebody took that and ran with it. Dardock is going to an ERL team, and whatnot,
I
but-
think I heard it from one of the more not reputable Twitter accounts. So obviously take this with a mountain of salt.
LEC Charmander.
I think it was like
LEC Magikarp.
Yeah.
I think it was like Skeleton or something. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
really
Skeleton.
remember.
Yeah.
But
Or is it Evil Jacob Wolf?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even take Evil Jacob Wolf for like any grain of salt because I think that's just a parody account.
I
It is.
remember Evil Jacob Wolf. Somebody like tweeted some rumor or like some big thing that got confirmed, and Evil Jacob Wolf was like, "Dude, even I couldn't come up with this." I'll have to go back and see if I can find that tweet because that was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some coaching options out there. There's definitely, maybe even some buyout options. We're still yet to see, once the 15th rolls around or we get closer to the 15th, more players and coaches doing the whole, hey, I'm allowed to explore my options thing. So I think there's definitely possibilities out there. It just remains to be seen who it will be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was gonna say real quick, just I'm gonna go pessimist just for a second, but it's for the sake of like grounding our expectations, right? So that way we're not sitting here having full on huffs of hopium and like we're gonna win. Yeah. Like let's set some ground expectations, right? So let's look at top lane first. It's not guaranteed that we get Jenkins, right? We're looking at Hanser as well, which I think most people would agree is probably our secondary choice. Maybe not even our second. There's probably other choices out there that we may not. We would like to have over Hanser, right?
Yeah.
Even then, Jenkins and Hanser, they're both. I mean, well, Jenkins is still new. He's still not a rookie per se, but he's fresh. He's only ever been on a team that was like Team Liquid, which is like you have a very solid squad surrounding you, right? We need to see how he meshes with our team. He may not mesh that well. It may be another Licorice situation.
Right.
So just keep that prepped and ready. Hanser obviously has not been in the scene for a hot second. He's been in Academy, kind of just floating around on TSM Academy, which was just kind of weird. I don't think he needed to be there. Yeah, just kind of weird in general. So any of those, yada, yada, whatever. Takui, he's an ERL mid, which is promising. I'm even going to have a video coming out later this week where I talk about him. And spoiler alert, I'm cautiously optimistic about him. But a huge emphasis on the word cautious. Like I said, he's an ERL mid. He showed promise, but he does have a lot of glaring issues as well, and I'll go over that in the video. So go watch that when it comes out. Then you go look at Aframu, who has had his ups and downs throughout his LCS career. Recently has been very good, right, on Dignitas with Neo, and in the past even with Johnson, who's looking to be his AD carry in this upcoming season. So those are all very good things, but you have to keep in mind he has had his ups and downs. And the other thing is, a lot of this I'm expecting to be prep for 2023. And I kind of had a conversation with Rice earlier, and I was like, hey, like, let's be honest here. Like, I kind of think, is this something we should worry about? Like, do we think Aframu is going to continue to be good all the way through the end of 2023? I'm not sure on that. Like, I think he'll probably be okay for us through 2022, but come 2023, I'm just not sure. So I think it's kind of Aframu is more of a pick now, win now kind of situation, which is fine because he's a great veteran shot caller and he's going to help get the team grounded and ready to go. But that's my only real nervousness with Aframu. So just kind of those things, keep those in the back of your mind. Keep those thoughts grounded, making sure you're not huffing too high on hopium. Don't overdose. Please hopium responsibly, and hopefully 2022 will go well for us.
No, it's
Now
great.
here's the big thing though. I'm gonna throw a wrench in all of that. What would we do? And this is pure hypothesis, pure craziness. There's nothing legitimate about this. But okay, not nothing. But we know we have money. And if for some reason we went through the negotiations, we talked to the right people, and we somehow secured something, for example, like FlyQuest barrel.
Holy shit.
What would that do for us? What would that do for us? Like, how would you react if you find out like we invested in Barrel or Mako or any of like the LCK, LPL like bracket supports?
I would be excited but apprehensive. Only because I feel like Korean imports, aside from like Impact and Core JJ and Sunday, I suppose, have not had a great history of working out. Crown comes to mind. GBM comes to mind. Arrow kind of disappeared from the scene, although he's kind of back right now.
And he got MVP the season he was playing.
Piglet comes to mind. I am always apprehensive that, unless you can find somebody, cough, cough, Viper, who has an incredible command of the English language, cough, cough, Viper, that it's just going to be very difficult to to put that together in terms of a cohesive team structure.
Yeah, I would say because FlyQuest does not have the resources currently to be able to support and sustain a support of that nature. Someone who doesn't speak English or anything like that. Now, if you were talking about bringing over someone like Hylissang or Mickey X, okay, I could get a little excited about that because like there's possibility for big plays happening. Right? But I just don't think the synergy ever happens if we bring over an Asian player.
For sure.
Yeah.
And of course, we're already hypothetically using our import slots with Jose Dioto and Takui, right? Because it's only 2, right?
True. Correct.
Yep.
So, just wanted to throw that hypothetical out there. We like a little tangent.
Makes the brain think.
Good little brain think. All right, let's hit on just a couple of the other rumors / corroborations that came out in Travis Gafford's video. This TL roster, we got to talk about it.
Nah. Nah, we don't got to talk about TL. What are you doing?
Whippo,
there's
Santorin,
nothing spicy about that.
Bjergsen, Hansama, Core JJ.
Did someone say first place?
Did someone say goes 3-3 in groups?
Oh
yeah,
my
so
God.
first place.
Yeah, so first place it goes 3-3 in groups, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I just expect Steve to sign a full Korean team, and they will still go 3-3 in groups. He's getting to that point,
Well, I'll be curious, because this was the 4th year that they went 3-3. And so what happens on the 5th year? Are they even going to make Worlds? Who knows?
We have no idea.
This year, we're truly in the unknown. The past 3 years, we could have been like, oh, yeah, no, like, we got another 3 years.
Yeah.
He's got to hit the number 4. But now that we're on the 5th, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very interesting. If Bjergsen goes to TL, displacing Jensen, who does not necessarily have a team to go to. There are rumors flitting around that he might not find a team, which I would find that absolutely incredible. Whether I understand if it's a question of the price tag to buy out his contract, but it would be amazing if Jensen is not playing in LCS next year. And I don't see them putting him on their academy team. So I mean, here's what might realistically happen then, right? Bjergsen replaces Jensen.
And
No,
Jensen becomes the coach of TSM.
no.
Kidding.
Jensen, no one wants to pay the buyout, right? Because it's too much money. But is Team Liquid really just going to keep paying his contract if he's not playing for them? Probably not. So can they release him from the contract? Can they just like agree mutually to dissolve the contract? And then now
they can also reduce the buyout price,
or keep reducing the buyout price. Could Jensen basically head to like some sort of free agent status before? It's possible. So I don't see it as likely that Jensen is not playing in LCS. Heck, he could go back to EU. I mean, that'd be wild, I think, at this point. But like, to be honest, I think there are some EU teams that could use Jensen as a big upgrade for their teams.
Yeah, XL would probably benefit from that.
Yeah.
Or Astralis.
XL, Astralis.
Actually, I could see Astralis Jensen, to be honest.
Oh boy, I mean that.
Well, Fnatic it would be a side grade for Fnatic, and it would be a downgrade for Mad Lions.
I mean, unless it's like C9 Jensen again, so.
So I could see a world because, I mean, there's been rumors flying around that Humanoid's leaving Mad Lions, right?
Yeah.
And in the event Humanoid does, I could absolutely see a world where Jensen does go to fill that spot of Humanoid.
Yeah, that would be a downgrade, though, man.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, you're losing Humanoid anyway, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, it's a downgrade, but there are worse hits you could take.
Right.
Nitol says in the chat, he said he would only go somewhere he sees potential, which is absolutely true, and probably part of the reason why the possibility of him not even playing next year is even real, right? It's because he says he would only go somewhere where he sees potential.
Well, and that's similar to the Double Lift rumor that Double Lift is looking to potentially come out of retirement.
God.
But only for a competitive team. But if you think about it, what team that is competitive is really looking to replace their ADC? Is TSM interested in taking him back? No, it seems like they are going the tactical route. Cloud9 probably retaining Sven. 100 Thieves has FBI. Team Liquid now signing Hansama. Evil Geniuses has Danny.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really see a world where Double Lift returns to the scene. I think it's going to be very interesting. There might be some players that end up getting left out.
Kind of like Solo did.
Of rosters. And I would like to see some players, turn towards the coaching route. Maybe they... I know Bjergsen, like, initially it was a retirement for him, but it ended up being, like, just a year off of playing. I would be very interested to see more folks take that year or, like, a split to go coach somewhere and maybe get, like, a bit of a different perspective, keep up their skills, things like that in solo queue, and then look to re-enter the scene. But yeah, I'll be very interested to see what players are just kind of like sitting around with no contract at the end of the offseason.
So hear me out for a second. I got two different theories, or not theories. One theory and then like kind of one like little just thought exploration. First one, the theory is, and hear me out on this, but Immortals. You pick up a good top laner. You already have a Xerxes. You break up Jensen. You bring in Double Lift. And you pick up whatever support Double Lift wants for that. Because I mean, most literally the only person on that Immortal squad that you really want to keep is Xerxes, right? Yeah. No one else on that. Like even the rumors were saying like Revenge and Xerxes are the only people staying. I don't even really want to keep Revenge if I'm being honest. Like get rid of him, get someone else, get all those people in. Like really just shell out the money for it. That's a solid roster that can be competitive. I'm not saying it's going to win, but it could do well. Thoughts?
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just would the players be game for that, you know?
I mean, you've had Jensen and Doublelift on the same team before. You got Xerxes, who has been more than a competitive jungler on a lower end team. So I don't think Jensen or Doublelift would mind having him as a jungler. And then if you get top and support that the other 3 players want to play with, I think it's possible. But it's going to be a lot of money on Immortals End, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do they have that money?
That I don't know. I actually don't think they do, but they might, and that's why it's just a thought that I had. Like it could happen if they really want to shell out the money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they've shelled out money for players before. Like they picked up Flame back in the day. You know, they had Ale. You know, I mean that whole roster, X Smithy, that whole roster back in the day was pretty
Pretty good.
pretty good.
They picked Huni and Rainover as well,
And pretty expensive as well. So it's not like Immortals hasn't had money in the past. I guess maybe it is a question of, do they have money now?
Rice says they're one of the richest orgs in the league. So
Really? All right,
happen.
so they can just shell that.
Yeah, just easy. Immortals Jensen, Immortals Doublelift, Immortals Xerxes. You know, replace your top and support.
Does Immortals go the route of Vitality and just...
Yeah, do we have the Immortals super team next year?
Build a secondary super team underneath Team Liquid? Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that would be interesting for sure.
The other thing, kind of the thought exploration I have is, if all of these players who want to play but don't get teams, but like they're still good, it could absolutely set up an excuse for Riot to go, hey, we have enough talent sitting around. We could have an expansion.
Ooh.
We could go to 12 teams.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I don't know about that.
um,
I don't know about that one yet. But
but dude, well, keep in mind though, you have a brand new amateur scene that is absolutely starting to flourish, right? So come 2023, because obviously it's not going to happen this year, right? Yeah. You have all these players who are still somewhat good, combining with brand new up and coming players from the amateur scene. Come 2023, you have enough of these players lying around, not on teams that are kind of just wasting their talent. Riot may go, hey, let's bring on 2 teams into the LCS franchising. Let's make it a 12-team league. And it may not be terrible. Granted, like I'm looking really far forward. It's small chance, but I think it could happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
It's not. I think my fear is that if we look into expansion, it's... All right. This is going to, we're going to take, for a hypothetical here, we're going to take a transition to a different game. The game's Civilization.
Oh, I love this game.
Okay.
I very much am a build tall person, not a build wide person. And it sounds to me, when you say expand, it sounds like building wide, where we're trying to expand the pool of teams. And that sounds good on paper, but for me, I think I would rather focus on building tall first, because you're right. We've got a lot of good players coming up in the amateur scene and academy, but I personally don't feel we've truly invested in those to develop NA talent. I think it goes beyond the leagues that are already there, and we got to like look at the collegiate leagues and the like literal infrastructure of North American League of Legends, even from a casual standpoint. And I think that's something we'd need to focus on before we could even consider 2 additional teams. Because sure, maybe we do have the 2 additional teams, and then but is it really worth it, or are we just expanding the pool of people to go not make it out of groups? You know, we've got to make sure we're like truly building up, so that then yes, we can go to a 12-team league. And so I don't dislike the idea of having a bigger league. I think it makes it fun. I just would rather see us build up first and say we have a truly solid structure for us to develop talent to go make a name for North America on the world stage.
Absolutely fair point. No, I can't even argue with that.
Yeah, I'm completely with Curly on this one. I think before expanding, we need to just build internally first. I mean, look at the LPL, right? They've been able to expand because they have the player base to do so, and they have the talent pool to do so as well. And they just have like a league structure and a fan system, fan support, able to support 17 teams. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them expand further. I wouldn't be
Well,
shocked.
then,
Yeah.
when I like go back to the infrastructure of North American League of Legends, period, we need more than one server, man. Like, if you really want to increase the level of competitive play in North America, I think you need at least 3 servers. Like when I say like servers, I mean like sub servers, because we're all playing in Chicago right now, no matter where you are.
Right.
We at the very least should have an LA, a Toronto, and then still have the Chicago. I think that's what it should be. Chicago.
Chicanto.
That's the secret railway I'm building from Chicago to Toronto, just so that particular FlyQuest staff members can see each other easily.
Right. Yeah, I'm a big Chicanto fan. Day one Chicanto dweller. No, I think these are all really good points. But yeah, I think before we go wide, we gotta go tall.
Yep, fair point.
Curly nailed it. Were there any other roster rumors you guys want to hit on before we kind of wrap things up tonight?
Hold on, I actually had it pulled up on my Discord, but then I tabbed out like an idiot. Where'd you go? Where did you go? I'm filling the air.
Okay, so CLG taking on Contracts, Palafox, Luger, and Poom.
There we go. Yeah. So CLGs, actually, so it's like literally back to last year, right? You had like Finn, Broxa, Pobelter, Wild Turtle, and Smoothie. And you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like a bad roster. It's probably middle of the pack. They'll make playoffs. They may make a little bit of a dent, and then they clearly didn't. What are the chances that happens again this year with that roster?
With CLG?
With this rumored roster of Finn, Contracts, Palafox, Luger,
Poom.
It sounds painful to watch.
It
in
the least flaming way possible. We'll always have a good academy reference every week of the LCS.
Yeah, it's just like...
Actually, I don't know, because they're all good players.
It's like, yeah, that's the thing. Is like, they're all good players, and they all have, like, big potential, right? So it's like, could they be really good? Yeah, they're not top 3, probably not top 5, but, like, I could see them being a playoff team. We have no idea what Dignitas is doing. We really don't know what Immortals is doing either.
I guess the thing though is I'm going to switch it up, because these are all, like, especially Contracts and Luger. These are teams that were in the upper echelon, or like players that were in the upper echelon of academy, and like I believe they've all had a taste of the LCS.
Luger has not.
Luger has not,
from my understanding.
Yeah,
okay.
Everyone else has.
Everyone else has. Okay, so they never gave Luger a quick sub in summer when everyone was changing every week, but everyone else has had that taste of the LCS. And Luger, we were talking about during Proving Grounds and everything, like all that academy hype about how we're anticipating where Luger's going, and I know 100 Talk guys are like, Luger's going to the LCS next year. So like, I think CLG might actually have a better shot than I'm saying, especially because other teams might not look at them seriously at first, and they might be able to at least get maybe an early edge on them. Or like, especially if they make that team bring it together. I'm pretty sure that that's like an all NA team, right? Like no imports. Finn. So aside from Finn, it'd be very easy for them.
Technically, Luger is an import too. He's Turkish, isn't he?
Yeah, he is Turkish. So that would be a 2 import team. Yes.
Gotcha. But it is depending on how their management does it. Maybe they're able to get Crimson in the off season and come into the lock-in tournament and maybe show up better than people think. So I think that's definitely a huge potential and they just have to see if they can achieve it.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely a development roster for sure.
I think the real question, what happens to CLG's coach? Because last year CLG's coach was Moon, and kind of get the same vibes as FlyQuest this past year as well, where it was like, I think you have a different coach for that roster, they may do a bit better, especially with the literal video of this roster's not continuing or whatever after this week or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, I think that was more of a management thing than anything else.
That was.
It may have been. I don't know.
As an ex CLG fan, no shade, but Tafo was not it for things. He just clearly not making the moves. So
yeah. Anyway, that was another thought I had was the coach for CLG, because I think you have a different coach in that position. Maybe they do a bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
EG, you guys want to talk about EG just real quick, especially because Jensen's not rumored really to be going to them anymore?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this super briefly. I mean, losing contracts to CLG potentially. There's a rumor that Inspired will come over to Evil Geniuses. No real news on Jizuke. I believe the rumor was that Ignar stays, Danny stays, and Impact stays. So basically, Inspired slotting in as jungler, Jojo Pune at mid. I mean, these are all possibilities for sure. I think that team sounds good, to me at least. I like the idea of it. Rookie mid, always a scary prospect, but it's one that I like. I don't know, Curly, what do you think?
I mean,
no, just whenever you take that deep sigh, I always know you're like, oh man.
I don't know. It's not. It's a confusing roster to me. I don't know. It's it feels like maybe they might be like, oh shit, we've got these 2 blank spots. What do we do? And Inspired, I guess for me, I'm more thinking about EG Inspired. And I get Inspired is a real good jungle, and I think that would be a huge boost for Evil Geniuses, if I'm being honest. And so I guess I guess I'd be scared for the other LCS teams, to be honest, because Inspired, jungler for Rogue, I'd say he was a huge part of their success most of the season.
Debatably the best Western jungler currently right now, right?
Debatably the best Western jungler. So if you have a guy like that roaming your map, what does that mean for the other teams? And I don't know. And I guess Jojo Pune is where I get unsure, because it's I'm surprised they wouldn't try to renew contract with Jizuke, because sure, he was supposedly coin flippy all season, but he's still very, very solid.
And he was MVP this past season too, wasn't he? Or not MVP. Was he MVP? He was definitely all top all pro though for mid laners.
Yeah, especially in the summer. A lot of he was hyped up, even despite his coin flip or alleged coin flip nature. Because I don't know, I get where he's using this. It's was it just this sample size, or is that truly how they are? But I don't know how to feel about that roster. I don't know if I fear them or not.
For me, I would probably just it blows my mind that they're not keeping Jizuke, especially after he had such a standout summer season, right? I mean, he literally was top of all pros. I can't remember for the life who had MVP this past split.
Spica.
Do you guys remember? Spica. Yeah. Okay, so either way, Jizuke was top all pro for mid laners, though. I'm 99% confident on that one. It just blows my mind that EG's not keeping him. I think he was solid this past split, and I think he can continue being good for the team. Like, I know it feels bad to end up losing 3-0 to Cloud9 in the playoffs, right? And just like that, gone. And that game 5 to 100 Thieves. Literally, you win that game 5 against 100 Thieves, you're at Worlds. That's it. Like, they were so close. I was of the opinion they should have honestly run this roster back, with maybe the exception of, like, I can see them picking up Inspired. I think no matter how you look at it, while it feels bad to continue taking away from LEC talent, especially the current like best Western jungler there is, like that's just a straight up upgrade. Like I can't fault them for doing that, especially if they're going to shell out the money for it. So yeah, maybe you replace your jungler, maybe you bring up contracts, maybe you keep Sven Skaren. Either way, I think that team's absolutely good enough, especially with Peter Dunn as a coach. You run that team back, I think you can make playoffs. Not make playoffs, sorry. I think you can make international competition that time around, right? So, for me, the fact that you're letting Jizuke go and just kind of going from there, like, I don't know, blows my mind a little bit. I think Jojo Pyun, if that's who they go with, can be successful, but I think it's going to take a little bit longer to get to that point. Whereas with Jizuke, I think is more than capable enough right now to get that team to where they want to be.
No, that's great. No, I really appreciate that insight and thought. I don't like it when people trash Jizuke. I think he's a great player, and I think he's more than serviceable for LCS caliber. Definitely top 3 or 4 mid in LCS. Hey, but at the end of the day, all of these rosters, they're all guaranteed to be top 10 teams in LCS.
Big facts.
Big facts. Just like this podcast is one of the top 5 LCS fan podcasts out there.
Is that all there are?
There was a TSM one. There's a Cloud9 one. There's obviously 100 Talk Pod.
You know what we are? We are
talking us out there.
We are one of the top 2. We are top 2 LCS fan podcasts to regularly upload content. That is a fact, Jack, for sure.
Yeah.
And if you like what you've heard tonight, you can catch us here again next week. Twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Time to be announced because the free agency period, I'm not exactly sure when it opens up, but I do know that Jacob Wolf's free agency show is returning, and that will be starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So not sure if we will be getting online. We'll, discuss that and make that announcement later. Not right now on the show, but we will announce what time. Yeah, we'll announce what time we'll be getting online to react to any free agency news. Hopefully as much live reaction as possible. But we will let you know when we'll be doing that. We may do a bit of a just kind of casual stream where we react to news as it comes in, and then like an official podcast later in the evening.
But kind of up in the air.
Kind of up in the air. We will make a tweet and an announcement in our Discord, which you can join to get up on all the important, as I do exclamation Discord, get all the latest updates on Flight Check and any news, and just join the discussion. It has been popping off recently. We've got a nice little group of people in there, keeping the community humming along, so that is great. Thank you all for joining in there. I don't think there are any further announcements. The VOD will be up on YouTube later if you want to go back to the top of the show if you missed anything. We just did a little Worlds recap, year in retrospect, and discussed roster rumors. All right, let's do a little shout-outs and plugs. I'm going to actually lead off on the shout-outs real quick. I'm going to take charge on this one. Shout out to Noxwar for running a fantastic TFT Invitational this past Friday night. I had a blast. I know everyone who participated did too. Thank you all so much to everyone who joined up in the Discord to play in that. It was a great time. Some real banger games. Hopefully someday we will have a spectator mode for TFT. It's unfortunate that we can't do that right now, but c'est la vie. So shout out to Nox for running that. We will hopefully do many, many more TFT invitationals in the future. Hopefully even bigger tournaments as well. That's all for me. Curly, anything for you tonight?
Yeah, I think I have a few small shout outs. First shout out is shout out to the top laner I faced at the beginning of my stream today for giving me a very false sense of security. As I was able to just absolutely stomp them as Urgot and then have the 3 of the worst set matches I've ever had afterwards. So, thank you for making me think I was going to do well today. Really prepared me for the rest. But in terms of real shout outs, I'm going to give a preemptive shout out to Nate ID, as there is a 98% chance he will be my duo partner in my ranked grind on Thursday and the rest of the week. Schedules pending because I'm working tomorrow night and then I have the rest of the week very free. So I'm going to be producing this. I'm going to be grinding. I'm going to be doing homework. So yeah, shout out to Nate ID preemptively for hopefully helping me climb. And then last shout out is to Sandy for giving us some unique content on Friday night by being in the TFT tournament and deciding to stream here. So we're gonna keep the circle going.
Hey, I had a good time.
Well, I guess on that note, shout out to both of you. In all actuality, though, shout out to both of you for both being awesome co-hosts. Sandy for participating in Flight Check. Curly for doing all the hard work that I know you're going to probably be doing later this week / tonight for the video. Keep up the great work, guys. Always appreciate you. I want to give a shout out to Drek. Pick'ems is officially done for the FlyQuest Discord. Winner and winners, actually, I should say, are being announced later this week, so keep an eye open for that. It's been a fun year for Pick'ems. I hope you guys enjoyed playing in them, and it'll be back next year. And we have some plans. There's some upgrades that we're going to be making, so I hope you all are ready for that.
Do we get to see the Riot script when we make our Pick'ems?
No. We, the 3 of us, get to see the Riot script.
DM me later. We can chat.
We'll talk about this back home.
Outside of that, just to be a fun little tease, because I have some insider knowledge, but there are bigger TFT plans involving more people than just myself coming in the future.
Ooh.
That's all I'm going to say on that.
Ooh.
Guess I gotta start grinding.
Oh, man. Oh, that's so good. I'm so curious.
Can't freaking wait. And we can't wait to see you all back here next week as we discuss free agency and the start of the end of everything as we all enter the bitter cold offseason together. So cold without weekly League of Legends esports.
What are you talking about? We can watch the VCS at like 4:00 in the morning. It's happening.
Wait, what?
So cold without weekly League of Legends esports, as I was saying. Scouting Grounds is going on, so be sure. I don't know what of that will be televised, but I'm sure
it's like only the final matches. There's not a lot televised.
You can at least go watch the VODs of that or something. Anyway, for all of us here at Flight Check, this has been Season 1.5, Episode 7. Thank you all so much for watching. Be good to each other. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. And we will see you all very, very soon. Please do not forget to hit the head on the nail. Adios.
I knew you were going to get it at the very last second. Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.